say I have a business. I own the business with my wife. So like we're a couple and we own the business.
Say you have a business and you own business with your wife,
Then I have a daughter and a son. My daughter, say she for the last 20 years. This is an example. It's not.
I'm listening. Don't worry about me. Just say your example. Yes.
So over the last 20 years, my daughter has brought all of her blood into the business, and we've got a lot of property from the business, right?
Yes.
Now something unexpected happens, and my son hasn't really contributed. He's been doing something else.
Can you raise your voice because I barely can hear you?
Yeah.
But,
So let's say, did you hear me? Like, so far,
you said that your daughter has been doing good doing her best for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. What about the boy?
No. So the boy is doing something his own thing.
Okay. Yes.
So the daughter has been putting blood, sweat, and tears into this business. That I'm
Yes.
talking about.
Yes.
Now something unexpected happens.
Yes.
For example.
Yes.
And I die, and
Yes.
my wife dies.
Yes.
What happens to the inheritance? That's the question.
Is the company only yours? If the daughter is putting work in the company, does she have a share or not? If she has a share, then she takes her share. That's not a part of the inheritance.
Yeah, so the business is only ours. Yeah.
If you get what I'm trying to say, I'm saying if the daughter has a share of the company, like she has 20%, 30%, because she's putting sweat and blood, then the father will give her a percentage. If she has a percentage of the company, that's her right, it's her property.
Yeah.
What you have inheritance is only the father's property.
No.
If the daughter does not have
I get it. So you're
a part
coming,
of the...
yeah, you're coming at it from a very technical standpoint.
I'm coming from an Islamic standpoint.
Technical Sharia standpoint.
Yes.
That's where you're coming
Yes,
from.
of course.
I'm coming at it from a conceptual standpoint.
Okay.
So the question really was, something unexpected happens. I didn't have the chance to, write.
She's 20 years putting sweat and blood and you didn't have the chance.
No, but it's unexpected. A war comes in.
What 20 years, what were you doing?
No, this is an example, right?
Okay, that's what I'm using the example.
No, yeah, I know, but
Yes.
I'm using the example for context.
Okay.
Something unexpected happens. So at this point, what happens to the inheritance and how would you justify that?
I don't justify anything. Inheritance will be divided in an Islamic portion. So depending on how many children he has, depending on his wife,
So
depending on his parents.
One son,
One son, one daughter. One son, one daughter. Let me speak to him. Akhi. One son, one daughter. The son will get two times of the daughter. There is a wife. She's alive. She's not alive. She's 1/8, and the rest will go to the relative if there is.
That's fair.
Absolutely, 100%.
And how do you justify that?
I don't need to justify it. Why do I need to justify it?
Given the context, how do you justify it?
Why do I need to justify it?
Because
My question to you.
No, but
Says who?
instinctively you can tell that's not fair.
Why?
Instinctively.
Why?
Someone wants to join Islam and they don't agree with this rule. So
Before we come, that's a separate question. I want to just stay with his rule. I can come to your question, but I want to stay with what
No,
you're saying.
instinctive.
To you, that is unfair because what you've done is that you've taken a scenario that you have made up with your own self, with your own mind, and then you removed every other variable in Islam. Okay, you have to take the whole picture or you don't take the picture. So if you want to say Islam is unjust in a specific thing, then you look at how Islam holistically deals with the male and female, and you don't only look at just the case of an inheritance.
Completely agree.
If the girl as a daughter does not require to pay mahr to her husband when she gets married, the husband has to provide for his wife 24 hours. Whether she's a mother, she's provided for. Whether she's a wife, she's provided for. Whether she's a daughter, she's provided for. The money she will take as inheritance is her. If you just allow me to finish, sorry. The money she will take from inheritance is her property. While the man has a higher financial obligation in Islam, he has to provide to the wife. He has to pay. He has to pay the mahr. He has to pay all of these things. So when you look at the financial obligations, it does make sense that the man will get more than the woman because of the financial obligations that takes place.
It makes sense if you take the framework as a whole, which is I said that right just before you came. I said that. So if you take the whole framework as a whole, then you're like, okay, you have to be forced into this framework, and all the caveats that come into the framework, you have to agree with them. And
No, but your example is flawed because look, if you say she was working for 20 years. If the father for 20 years she was sweating her blood, did not give her an inheritance, a part of the company, then you should blame the father, not Islam. Why? You cannot have it your own cake and eat it. You cannot say she was working for 20 years, but all of a sudden she died. It just doesn't work. It's either she was working for, if you just allow me to, if it's either she was working for 20 years, which means you had all of this time to give her a piece of the company, which would be the thing that makes sense
But
to
from
do.
an abstract point of view.
no,
Yeah.
he's right.
You don't get what I'm trying to say, do you? I'm saying your example is contradictory. You cannot have your cake and eat it. You cannot say she was working for 20 years and she died suddenly and the father didn't give her. It's impossible. If she started working in one first day and then she died, that makes sense. But 20 years she's putting her sweat and blood. If the father does not give her a right, then now the blame is on the father. You cannot blame the Islam inheritance system for that. So if you want to give me an example that actually makes sense, I can deal with that. But that example you're saying is contradictory, is illogical.
It's not contradictory. It can happen.
Do you understand my point?
I understand.
Can you repeat my point?
You're saying that if 20 years the daughter puts in work into the business,
yes,
and the father doesn't actually write down anything in the will, or if he doesn't transfer any of the wealth while that's happening, and 20 years is a long time, then the blame is on the father.
Yes.
Because obviously we're all conscious beings, and it's on us. It's a conscious duty on us to do that.
Yes.
Agreed.
If she was doing all of that and you were her father, you care about her effort, you should put her part of the...
I fully understand.
Okay.
But we're not talking about individuals here, we're talking about theology here. And from an abstract standpoint.
From theology, you have to look at Islam, where Islam says to the father that every father is a shepherd and he will be asked on his flock, which means he has to deal justly with his parents and he will be held accountable on the day of judgment for that. If he denies something of his daughter that is a part of her right, in the day of judgment, Islamically, you have to take the whole thing as a whole, Islam as a whole. If you want to deal with it as a no, if you're asking me, does X, Y, and Z make sense in Islam, you have to look at what Islamic paradigm says about the issue. You cannot take a part of the Islamic paradigm and then apply your methodology there.
You can't enforce that in this world, though.
Enforce what?
So you come up with something abstract, oh, there's a day of judgment, there's a heaven and a hell.
Okay, that's the Islamic paradigm. This inheritance thing is also under the day of judgment, the hellfire, etc. So your issue now is not really with the concept of inheritance. Your issue now became, if you want to deny the hell, the afterlife, then your issue should be whether Islam is from God or not. That's a separate discussion. If you want to talk about inheritance, you have to take the Islamic point of view, which has the afterlife as a part of it. Or you don't ask the question about do you understand what I'm trying to say?
No,
does it make sense
but you don't know the context. That's not how I started the conversation.
No, it's fine. I was just answering the question from my point of view.
Yeah, okay,
right?
fine. But that wasn't my point of view.
So tell me how you start the conversation.
My point of view was I came to him and I said, okay, if there is a God, looking at the proofs, right? So if we take the Quran as a word of God, first of all, we have to come up with the concept of God. The concept of God.
First, we have to see God exists or not.
The concept of God.
No, whether God exists or not. If you believe in God or not, I don't know. Do you believe in God?
I mean, I'm agnostic. I'm open to it. But it's not something that.
So you're not on any.
You can say for sure if there's a God or not, right?
If me now and my assumptions about what I can say, what I cannot say. You've never met me in your life, you know. I wouldn't make assumptions about you, what you can say, what you cannot say. No. I'm asking you yourself. Leave me now. You're someone who's stating a position of ignorance. You say I'm ignorant. I don't know. That's what agnosticism is. Gnosticism is from the Greek word agnostos, which means without knowledge. So you're stating your ignorance. That's fine. That's your position. You cannot put your ignorance on me and say you also do not know. You get the point? You can state your position. You didn't even ask me for why I believe what I believe.
You can believe in God, but you can't prove the existence of God.
Okay, that's what you think. That's your opinion. But you haven't let me even demonstrate what I have for God's existence. You know, it's like me saying God exists whether you like it or not. You know what? It doesn't matter what you do, God exists. This is me enforcing my position on you. You're enforcing the opposite on me now by saying, you know what? You cannot know whether God exists or not, or you cannot say, okay, you haven't spoken to me, man. You don't know what evidences I have. Okay, no, before going to it, let's talk about your position. That's what I was asking you. Do you believe in a creator or you do not believe in a creator? You have to give me a yes or no there. Because I don't know is not an answer. It's either you believe in a creator or you don't believe in a creator.
I mean, it's not a binary
or you are in the fence, you don't know whether there is a creator or not.
I mean, the way that you're framing your question, I don't agree with the frame of the question.
Tell me why.
Because you can't know. That's my point of view. You can't know.
But that's an active claim. Can you provide evidence for that?
No, that's not.
Do you know what an active claim is?
For me to say,
no. That's an active claim because you said you cannot know. You are now committing the fallacy of generalization. You're making an active claim that humans cannot know whether God exists or not. Now, I would humbly ask you for how did you arrive to that conclusion, and what is the evidence for that?
I mean,
so it's just your personal opinion. So I don't need to agree with you then. I think you can reach God's existence, and you can believe whatever you want to believe. It's your personal opinion. You want to believe the building is a banana, that's your opinion, you know. But let's talk about things from a rational point of view, not from an emotional point of view. Now, you have a universe. You agree? You agree we have a universe? Do you agree? So we can move forward? Okay. The universe has a beginning. Do you agree? Big Bang.
Well, there's multiple theories on how the world came.
Give me some. I'm willing to
String
read.
theory, there's the Big Bang theory. We
String
don't know-
theory is about gravity and general relativity. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
No, but it,
How is string theory related to the
but
beginning of the
It
universe?
conflicts with the Big Bang.
How? Tell me.
I don't know the details, but it conflicts with the Big Bang.
If you don't know, my advice is you go research it. Come back when you know what you're saying. I'm asking you right now. What is the problem? Where are the other theories? By the way, there is consensus today among physicists that there was a start of the universe. There are 17 different models of how the Big Bang works. All of them agree on one thing, that the universe started from that point.
Yeah.
You're coming and saying, oh, there is different theories. I'm willing to hear. Give me one.
I mean, okay, that was the start of space and time, sure.
So you agree?
That's the consensus among
Space
the
and time is what we call the universe. Okay. So you agree that the universe has.
That's our understanding. of
Okay, that's what I'm asking about. Okay. So you agree the universe has a beginning.
The space and time paradigm. Yeah.
Beginning is a time question. You know that?
I know, but it's,
So that when I say you agree the universe has a beginning, no point of saying time and space started.
I mean, that's the best consensus. That's the best theory that we've got at the moment. Yes.
Do you know why we believe the universe has a beginning? What's the reason they gave you? What's the evidence they gave you, the physicists?
We don't need a why. Like, why would you frame a question?
So physicists one day they woke up and they say, you know what? I'm thinking there's something called the Big Bang and the universe started. Is that what
Well,
happened?
they came up with a theory, right?
They didn't bring any evidence?
They looked at particle physics.
Did they bring evidence or no?
No, but the why.
Electron radiation.
Thank you. BMI is one type of the evidence. It's one type, by the way. That's one. Very educated answer, yeah? BMI is leftover radiation of the expansion of the Big Bang. That's one of the evidences. One, by the way, not all, of why they say the universe expanded. Another thing, which what we call redshifting, where you have the wavelength of the galaxy is stretching. We can observe that today with telescopes. The third thing is that you have the laws of thermodynamics, like the second law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be created or destroyed within a closed system. So we make the conclusion that the system was closed. There was a point where it started expanding from. So there are multiple evidences that physicists put to say, okay, the universe has a beginning. They don't just wake up one day and they say, oh, I'm feeling like it, so the universe has a beginning. Yeah. So you're putting it like, oh yeah, this is the best whatever. No, there is evidences for it. And there's observable evidence as well, like redshifting. You can bring now a mega telescope and you can see it with your own eyes. You don't have, no one has to tell you. It's impossible for the fabric of space to be stretching if the universe is not expanding.
Yeah, but science always works with the best theories that they've got at a time.
I know.
Yeah, it starts
That doesn't mean
it starts at a point of humility.
you have to separate between science as a theory based on induction and between observations. Like when science observes, for example, that the earth is round, is there any doubt about that? There's a doubt that the earth is round? You think so?
No, no doubt.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Oh, I thought you said data.
No, I said, is there any doubt on the observation that the earth is round? Not every claim that science says, it depends what it's based upon. Like the water boils at 100 degrees. There's scientific experience that took place. That's a fact, that's a reality. So there are things that are observable, experimented, repeatable, that we can call facts that will always be the way they are. Not everything in science is like that. So when I say you can observe, and it's impossible for the fabric of space to stretch if the universe was not expanding. Cannot happen. Cannot have the fabric itself stretching. It's impossible, it doesn't happen. This is what we call redshifting. Now, this is why I was giving you the advice to go and do some research yourself, to know why we say what we say, rather than just making claims without researching them. Now, if the universe has a beginning, and it came into existence, can something come into existence from nothing? Nothing being no energy, no matter, no space, no quanta, no agency, nothing.
We don't know what was before the Big Bang. That's the whole point.
I'm not asking about the Big Bang. I asked an abstract question now. Can something come into existence from nothing? From the absence of energy, matter, space, time, everything. Is that a possibility?
I mean, I can't really answer that question because the paradigm that
You can't answer that question?
No, we can't. I can't because the paradigm that
We can't, yeah, you can't.
I
Good.
can't.
Yeah, I like that. That's good.
Yeah. The
We'll move it
paradigm-
forward.
The paradigm that we're talking about is based on the paradigm that we're talking about. The universe as we know it is.
I think we should wait because I can barely hear you from this nonsense.
The universe as we know it.
I'm not asking about the universe. Let me repeat my question.
But
Can
that's a very abstract question because I know where you're going with this. I've had Dawa training, that's why I'm saying this, right?
you think because you had Dawah training, I don't know, wherever, you know something?
No.
Do you
I'm
think
not-
because I don't know, I don't know what you're talking about by saying I had da'wah training. But this is irrelated to what I'm talking about, yeah? You can have 100 da'wah training, it doesn't matter. I'm asking a simple question unrelated now to da'wah training and otherwise. I'm saying right now, can something come into existence from nothing?
I can't answer that question.
Definition of nothing is the absence of energy, space, matter, quanta, quarks, anything. The absence of something, which means there is no agency, there is no cause, there is nothing that can bring it into existence to begin with. If there was ever nothing, it would always be nothing because it cannot change because there is nothing.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
I would say that.
Unless you believe in magic, where I can bring
Wait.
like a cat from nothing right now. That wouldn't even be nothing, but maybe you believe in that.
I see what you're saying, and I would say yes. It's not possible, but I would only apply that to space and time, the paradigm of space and time. Before that, I wouldn't apply that. So I don't know.
No problem. Apply it to space and time, whatever. Okay. Is matters things which are restricted by space and time matter? Okay. At the first point of the Big Bang, there was matter there. Where does it come from?
I don't know. Like we can't know that.
You agree with me that we cannot have something from nothing. Therefore, that question requires an answer. The energy and matter and the space that existed requires to come from somewhere. It's a fact. Cannot have something that comes into existence from nothing. Doesn't happen. It's an impossibility. Doesn't work out. Cannot create yourself. You have to exist to create yourself. But to create yourself, you have to exist. It's a paradox. It doesn't happen. So we require something external of the time and space that you talk about to bring that energy and matter into existence.
Okay.
Something that has a power we can't even comprehend to compress the universe into a singularity. Something that has level of intelligence we cannot even comprehend to make this gravitational field, gravitational constant. It's not an argument, it's a reality. It's just like I cannot create this table without wood and iron and metal. These are requirements in order for me to create the table. Can I do it without them?
You can't apply that to the universe.
I'm asking you a question now, leave the universe on the side. Can I create the table without these materials?
No, you can't.
I can. Can I create the universe without the necessary attributes to create a universe?
Well, I don't know that. We don't understand.
You don't know.
I don't know.
Yes, you can create something without having the attributes to create it.
I'm undecided on that. But let's work with your theory.
Okay, but I want you first to answer the question.
I can't answer that question.
So you can't answer.
Yeah, I can't.
So you don't need a necessary material to bring something into existence. Yeah. So it can come from nothing. You believe in magic.
A simple answer. Why are you just not answering it? It's
Yes.
something you
No,
give the
no, I
example of
can't
table.
answer that.
No, we answer the
No,
table.
you don't want
No,
to
but you
answer
can't-
that.
No, you can't.
There's
apply
a difference
that.
between I can't
Yeah.
and I don't want.
No, I can't answer that. Because I've played with this in my mind quite a lot. That's not something I can answer.
I don't think you have. If you had, you would have better answers to the questions I'm asking you. At least you would have a response. But it doesn't seem you have.
No, but let's work with your theory.
No, but it's not a theory. Before moving forward, I have to see first, do you concede to the logical conclusions or not? I'll tell you why. Let's assume we move forward. We make more logical conclusions, and in the end you say, you know what? I don't know. Just same thing you're saying right now. I don't want to waste my time with all due respect, yeah? So either we work with logical conclusions, and we can have a discussion as human beings, or we put our mind in the bin, and then you can do whatever you want to
I don't
do,
think
you know?
can use logic at such an abstract level and just play with it.
How did you come to the conclusion you cannot use logic? Using your logic, yeah? That's called circular reasoning. That's called the self-defeating argument. Do you know that? So you cannot make that claim to begin with. You have to use your logic whether you like it or not. Make sense? So should we use the logic or not?
I mean, I'm willing to work with that theory.
Okay, let's work with that theory, yeah? Let's see when we reach the conclusion what you're going to do. So the universe requires something which is powerful, something which is intelligent, something is independent of it to bring it into existence, something that has a will to initiate an act, something that has creative power. Okay, these things are necessities. So now we have something, has a power we cannot comprehend.
But now you're giving attributes to whatever this is. Whatever.
I'm not giving attributes. I'm saying these are...
creative powers of will. Those are attributes. Those are.
I'll repeat myself because maybe you're not listening. I said these are necessary requirements to create the universe. So whatever brought the universe into existence, by necessity must possess these attributes.
Why do they need
Because they cannot create the universe otherwise. Because the universe requires these things to come into existence.
No, but when you say a will or creativity, those are.
Well is
those
the
are
well. Look, I'll give you an example. You know these colors of House of Candy. There's different colors, yeah. You see, look, have a look there. You see green, red, blue, etc. Now, can I choose between the different colors? If I want to choose green, I can choose green. If I want to choose blue, I can choose blue, right?
Yeah, that's
so
an
that
attribute you give to a human. Yeah.
if you just let me just speak. If you let me speak, I would appreciate it. Then you can answer, no problem. This is me exercising my will. The choice between which color I will choose. Within the universe, we have different properties, and the universe is arranged in a certain way. In order for you to arrange something in one way, you require a will in order for you to put it the way it is. Why is the sky blue and not green and not orange and not pink? Why is the earth in a different color? Why is Mars is not in the place of Saturn and Saturn is not in the place of Mars? That requires a will in order for you to put these things in where they are today. So that's what we call a will. You cannot make a choice or make a limitation without a will to do so. If the creator or whatever created doesn't have a will, everything would be the same. You will not find differences between the things because there is no choice being made between X or Z. And if there is a choice being made between X and Z, therefore that means whatever created has the will and the choice to make between, okay, this is going to be blue, this is going to be white. That's why you need a will. Should we move forward or no?
No, I can't move forward from that point.
Or tell me why not.
I mean, okay.
Give me logical reasons now. I'm happy to hear.
First of all, when you come up with the concept of will, the way that you describe the concept of will is a very human-like attribute, or a very biological attribute. When you have some sort of
will and biological attribute. Will is to do with biology.
No,
do you know what you're talking about?
Do you know what you're doing? You're not trying to understand what I'm saying.
No, I'm correcting the simple mistakes you're making.
I think you're the way that you told me.
No problem. Go ahead.
And you're not letting me explain what my doubts.
If that's how you feel, you can feel that way. No problem.
So when I say that when you explain the concept of a will, maybe
Yes.
I don't have the articulate words that you have. But I'm trying to understand how I understand it in my head.
Okay, go ahead.
So when you get the concept of will, and you say, okay, the creator, or whatever we want to call that entity, has to have a will to be able to choose those things. What you're doing is you're applying a characteristic that a human has to a level that we really don't understand.
Okay.
Could it not be that, okay, would you say gravity is some sort of a will because it wills for things to fall on the ground? Would you say that's will?
That means you don't understand what gravity is. Gravity is a law which is in work within the universe, something that we can observe,
Yeah.
right? What we call gravity is us explaining something that is already in existence. Yeah, it's just a concept. So you cannot say, well, does X, Y, and Z or doesn't do X, Y, and Z. Because it's just a concept that we give to something which is present in reality. If you accept that that gravity is a law, you need to explain who's the lawmaker. Why is that law in existence? And that comes back to the point that I was making, that thing decided that the law will be in this way. And if it decides that the law will be in this way, that's what we refer to as a will. Now, when I say to you will, and you say to me that's a human concept, that doesn't make any sense, because the words we're using are all human words in order for us to explain something. So any word I would use, it will be a human concept in the end. So it doesn't make any sense for you to say that. And we do not say that the Creator does not possess things that we possess, but on a spectrum, on a level which is infinite. Like I have mercy, the Creator has ultimate mercy. I have love, the Creator has ultimate love. I have a will, the Creator have an unrestricted will. I can will only in a paradigm which I'm restricted. The Creator can will whatever He wants to will. His will is enforceable in anything and everything. Nothing can force upon Him to choose anything. So the Creator has a will, but it's not similar to my will. And there is no problem that the Creator has a will and I have a will.
So that's the jump I'm quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's what?
That's the jump I'm quite uncomfortable.
Yeah, but what is the illogical part about it? Not feeling part, but being comfortable or not. What is the illogical inconsistency in the argument that I'm presenting?
It just doesn't make sense to me. Like I just don't think.
Which part does not make sense?
I just don't understand.
Oh, no. 1 second, what happened? Leave it.
Like the way that I see it is like what. The way that I see it is. The way that I see it is whatever caused for the Big Bang to be triggered was some sort of whatever catalyst it was. That catalyst I can't attribute.
Whatever what?
Catalyst.
What do you mean by that?
Like something that triggers something to me.
Okay,
Like a chain
yeah, okay,
reaction, right?
okay.
That I just can't attribute a will to that. Like that.
Yeah, I know
that's
you
jump
can
too
because
far.
you don't want to accept the existence of God. You're pushing the idea away emotionally, and that's your opinion. You know once you surrender, once you surrender to the existence of a will, you have to surrender that there is accountability in life, that there is a purpose in your existence, that there are accountability for the deeds that you do, and that's the part you don't want to accept. So it's not about logical point of view. You have not provided any logical reasons opposing the arguments that I'm putting forward for a will. You have not given any logical reasons opposing what I'm saying. You're just saying, I don't feel comfortable with it. That's just a feeling.
That's something I'll look into.
Sorry?
Something I'll
Look into it. But when you come and you think you left something, you need to be prepared. You need to know what you're talking about. I'm not here trying to put you in a box or this or that. I'm trying to make you realize that where you went is the most stupid place to go, with all due respect. Leaving Islam, which has all the logical reasons and logical answers behind it, has evidences, has proofs to its divine origin, going to something which the best you can do is to say, I don't know, it's just an illogical decision to make. I don't know what happened in your life, what reasons you don't want to believe in God, that's your own personal thing. But believing in a creator is a logical thing that has evidences, has proofs, supported by reason, by intellect, by evidences, by observations, by everything. Whether you want to adopt that or not adopt that, that's your choice. But if you come and claim that Islam has an illogical thing, you need to be prepared. For me, I would treat differently with someone who's not non-Muslim, because maybe he's ignorant, he doesn't know. You're born in Pakistan, you're from Pakistan, you should know what you're talking about, you are Pakistani, that's the important thing, right? You're talking to him, so I'm assuming you are Pakistani. So you should know about Islam even a little bit, yeah? Which you shouldn't come from the same ignorant perspective that someone who doesn't believe comes from, yeah? So you should be more wiser. That's what I would say, You should be better than doing something like this.